What's up, guys? This is your girl T from T's Corner, coming with Greenleaf review, season 1, episode 13, the season finale. What are you doing here? Now, y'all have to excuse my hair, but y'all know I'm always in the process of putting it in or taking it out. And I will tell you that I started this review, and I gave you a great 6 minutes of my opinion, and then hit the stop button instead of the pause and erased everything. So, yeah, that was my moment of brilliance, but it is 1 o'clock in the morning. So, anyway, this episode starts out with Sophia standing on the balcony looking out over the Greenleaf property at the manor and everything, and probably, you know, just taking it all in because she's going to have to leave soon because Ray has won custody of her, at least for the summer, and because he's so vindictive and inconsiderate, even though she's told him that she doesn't want to go. He's like, oh, well, I'm going to pick you up and we're going to drive out in a convertible with the top down for 1,200 miles and it'll be great. Totally disregarded the fact that she said she didn't want to go. So, then we cut to Kevin standing in the hallway outside of the bedroom with a covered lunch tray for Charity. And Charity's in the room with the choir director, whose name I can never remember. I want to say Carlos. That might be it. I'm not sure. But, I gotta say, his real name is Parnell. So, she's in there with Parnell and Wanda. And they're talking about what happened and how she ended up in the hospital. And Charity is being a good wife and a good woman. So, maybe there is some hope yet for her and Kevin. Because she lets them know, you know, it was due to stress and, you know, just some things. But your baby's alright. Everything is good. She doesn't let them know that it's because my husband told me he has fantasies about men and I tore into his ass. And I got very upset and I fell down and it was an emotional roller coaster. So she has kept his secret and respected the sanctity of their marriage. And I said, that's nice. That's good. Because most people, and I won't even say females, most males or females in that predicament would not have been that tactful. At least I know I wouldn't. I'd have been like, girl, you ain't gonna believe what this nigga told me. So, I respect and applaud her for that move. That was classy. She took the high road there. And then we cut to Bishop visiting Uncle Devil in prison. And first question is, you know, what is the title of this episode? What are you doing here? Why on earth would you even visit him in jail? Well, we learn quickly that Uncle Devil has a sentencing hearing coming up, and he needs a character witness. And he really thought that the bishop would be his character witness. And so the bishop tells him, but before he does that, he says, you know, with me in jail not giving my daddy any money, he's not going to be quiet for long. Which then lets me know that whatever it is that is going on between Bishop and Uncle Mac, that is this big secret from everybody, Granddaddy knows. Granddaddy, Richard McCreqdy, played by the amazing Bill Cobb, who will forever and always be Bill Devaney to me from The Bodyguard. But, so they go through that whole thing, and he's like, so if you were to say that I had a change of heart and blah, blah, blah. And Bishop tells him, it ain't no way. You can do what you want to do, say what you want to say. There's no way I'm going to spit on the memory of my daughter by shining you up. And I like that. I've never heard that before, but I like that. So, oh, and Bishop's hair. I don't know who is cutting Bishop's hair, but them waves are everything. Laid, like, I don't even know. So, I had to shout that out. Keith David, the waves is on point. I say a lot. I'm like terrible at public speaking. But then we cut to Gigi in her office on the phone talking to her lawyer Mike, played by Dwayne Owens. And she's asking him, if I move to Phoenix for the summer to be closer to Sophia, would that work in my favor when I want to bring her back for school at the end of the summer? And when she's telling him that, Noah comes and knocks on her door, comes into her office and says, you know, sorry to interrupt, but your granddaddy in the conference room. And she's like, does mama know he's here? And he's like, no, your mom's over at the temple. Otherwise, I wouldn't let him in here because I don't want to hear her mouth. But I'm going to need you to come down here to this conference room. So she gets in the conference room. She's like, what are you doing here? You know mom don't want you here. And her granddaddy looks at her and says, You done locked my boy up, so now you got to take care of my ass. She takes him home and sees that his living conditions are less than adequate for someone who really can't take care of themselves, and that he's on all kinds of medication, and then he's in the bathroom about to hack up a lung, and she's standing outside the door like, are you okay? Should I come in there? You know, blah, blah, blah. And so he says he's fine or whatever, but then she wants to look into some new housing for him because she's like, you know, this is just not adequate for him to be living in. So then she talks. After she gets all that squared away, she goes home, gets changed and everything, gets ready to go to the temple for the Women's Day. The virtuous woman that her mother's preaching at the temple. So it's not going to be held. God, I can't even remember where it was supposed to be held. It's not going to be held there. It's not going to be held at the place where the girl's daughter works that just got renovated. Now it's being held at the temple. So, so she goes home and she gets dressed and she sees Kevin. And Kevin has this guy up on his phone. And I'm like, all right, here we go with this swiping shit again. Now, Charity done let you back upstairs in the bedroom. And so now you're a little bit comfortable in your surroundings again. You feel like you can start swiping through the naked chest and stuff again. Now, this guy wasn't naked. But this is what I was thinking. So when Gigi comes down, she, you know, they're rapping, what's going on, how are things with you, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. And he told her if she has to go back to Arizona to handle her business where Sophia is concerned, to do that. But he would like to see her come back because she's always coming to him trying to help people. And that's the gospel, to help people. And that's what she does, and that's what she's bringing there. And I totally agreed with that. I love Gigi so much. So she goes to the banquet. Lady Mae's preaching her virtuous woman speech, and she's getting into it and getting revved up about, you know, God gave us men, but some things women got to lead. Talking about how Mary was chosen to bring forth Jesus. A man wasn't chosen to do that. It was a woman. You know, she's getting all riled up, and she says, you know, my family and the church has been going through some things right now, and it's going to take a virtuous woman to bring us back. And then my favorite assistant in the whole wide world, Miss Corinne Jackson, gets pumped up, and she like, yeah, she getting in the spirit like, yeah. Gets up and turns around to face Gigi, and she starts clapping, and then the whole banquet kind of just turns to Gigi, and everybody's applauding her as if to imply that she is this virtuous woman that Lady Mae is speaking about. Now, because we know the dynamics of Gigi and Lady Mae, we know that's not the case at all. But when the entire banquet hall is applauding, and Deacon Connie Sykes is sitting down giving her nod of approval, Lady Mae can't do nothing but join in. She like, well, Jesus, you know, if this is what it is. So, then where are we? Kevin was not swiping chest. He was actually swiping through looking for help on his phone. I guess it's like, you know, people who, you know, redirect and deal with families who are going through this thing and rebuilding the home and rebuilding the relationship, if that is, you know, a possibility. And he takes it to Charity and he asks her to read it. And Charity's like, no, I don't want to read it. And he was like, you know, I love you. Please, we need to work through this. Please read it. Meanwhile, old Basis Skanks then took Jacob to the site of this new Christian center that he wants to open, 40 grand or something like that. And it is the property that Bishop and Uncle Mac were looking at for the community center with the pool and everything. Well, he's bought it for less than market value, and he's going to do the exact same thing that Bishop was going to do, and it's directly across the street from Calvary. So he's being messy, but we knew that going in. We knew there was some ulterior motive going in. And so that is where we are now. And this time I'm going to hit the pause button instead of the stop, so I don't erase it and have to start over. And when I come back, hopefully this side of my hair will be braided up. We shall see. Okay, so I'm back, and my hair is not braided. However, I have started the detangle process. So anyway, Lady Mae runs home and tells Bishop, you ain't going to believe what happened at the banquet. And you don't see this, but you know this because Bishop comes out. And Gigi's sitting out on the porch in a rocking chair. And Bishop comes out and says, you know, I heard what happened today. And said, so Mom asked you to come out and talk to me. And he's like, oh, yeah. So he sits down and he tells her, you know, and I just think, you know, Bishop is manipulative. And it bothers me. It really does. But he is manipulative. So he comes out and he talks to Gigi about what went down, and he says he believes that if she were just to stay and to walk in her calling, then the feud between her and her mother would go away. Which leads me to think that Lady Mae was so proud to have Gigi preaching, but she didn't want to face the reality of what Uncle Devil did to Faith. And so she shut her down, but then got pissed off when she left and quit preaching. So that's where I'm going with this. I don't know if I'm right or not. We shall see, but that's where I'm going. So then he tells her, she said, well, Mama don't want me here. And he starts laughing and says, you are not wrong about that. I'm like, that is ignorant to the 25th power. But if you've been watching all season, then you know that is where Lady Mae sits. Ignorance at the 25th power. So, only when it comes to Gigi. She's not that way with anybody else. Well, maybe Mavis, but you hear her talk about Mavis. You don't see her actually interact with Mavis throughout the entire first season. Until tonight, which I'm waiting for. But he says, I'm going to tell you something that only your mother knows. And then he lets her know about this shaking of the hand by actually holding the hand up with some eyeglasses and I don't know, something that looked like a crucifix or something, prayer beads in his hand. And she asks him what's wrong, and he tells her that he has Parkinson's. So now we know that he has Parkinson's. And I mean, we've been drawing inferences for a couple weeks now, so now we know it's definitively Parkinson's disease. And this is where the manipulation comes in. He says, I know you because I know myself, and I'm a preacher, and I know that you're a preacher, and I'm not going to be able to preach, you know, but a couple more years. You know, don't worry, the doctor got me on some good medicine, but eventually I'm not going to be able to preach. And to me, that's manipulating, because the only reason that you told her that you were sick is to tell her that you weren't going to be able to preach forever, so that you could get her to come back and preach. Just like you pulled that, well, I'm going out of town and you're the associate pastor, so I said you're going to preach, so you're going to preach mess. Again, not cool, but that's how Bishop gets what he wants. So she's concerned with, you know, having to go to Phoenix and be there for Sophia and be in her life and active in her life for these whole 3 months that she's with Ray, so that, you know, it looks good for the custody hearings and whatever after the 90 days is up. And so that's where we are now. Granddaddy's name is Henry McCreqdy. I don't know where I've gotten Richard from, and I know I said in like this review and another, I don't know where I got Richard from, but his name is Henry, not Richard. Okay, so now that Jacob is at Triumph with Basie Skanks, Carissa has decided that she wants Essence, or not Essence, what is it called? Black Excellence, to partner with Triumph because they don't have a school, and expand her that way because she believes that the kids are going to migrate toward the community center that's going to be built across the street from Calvary. I and Jacob think that her problem is Alexa, and knowing that Alexa worships at Triumph, and actually works there, I think Alexa works at Triumph, and she can say she's not worried about it, and Jacob has, you know, he keeps reassuring her that, sorry that yawning thing's about to start again, it is 1:49 though, but Jacob keeps telling her, you know, that I don't want anybody else anymore, that part of my life is over, you know, I just want you, I'm just going to be with you, a devoted, committed husband. She not buying it, and she worried, and you can tell by the way she looks in that mirror that she like, yeah, I still got to watch you and Alexa. So they go to Calvary this Sunday because they want to hear Gigi preach. This is her first Sunday preaching for the summer. So they go there. But before they go to Calvary, so I guess probably Saturday. Excuse me. Gigi goes back to see Aunt Mavis, and they're putting the finishing touches on closing up Auntie M's and getting all the stuff out of there. And she tells her, your father's dying. And she says, Mavis says, well, I guess that's why he's been calling me. And she says, yeah. And she says, so I guess you're staying, you know, because he came to the church to find her or whatever. She says, I guess you're staying. And she says, yeah, for now. And she tells Gigi something that's very important to the story and how she feels about Calvary and about the church. And that is that James was a different person before the church changed him, before Gigi came along, before she was born. He was a different person who just wanted to see the best of what God had to offer. And the church changed him, and now it's about money and power. And she said she never wanted to see Gigi fall into that. And had she known that giving her that file and keeping her here to bring out, excuse me again, to bring out Uncle Mac and air his dirty laundry and what went on, and to pretty much avenge Faith and Vita and Danielle and all the other victims of Uncle Mac that we don't know still how many there were. But she said, had I known that bringing you back and getting you involved in that would have brought you to this path in the church, I never would have did it, because I never wanted that for you. And Gigi tells her, Auntie, I'm going to be okay. And she says, you think so? Well, we shall see. And so she says, well, I'm going to move your dad into a nursing home on Monday. Do you want to come? And Mavis says, no. You know, that ship has sailed. I'm done with that. Well, how's it suit you? So then we come up to Sunday morning. And before they go into the sermon, before they go into the sanctuary for the sermon, Jacob tells Bishop about Basie Skanks building the community center directly across from Calvary. And at that point, Bishop says, well, you know, God done worked it out for you to be there. Not my plan, but his, so that you can spy on him and let me know everything that he has going on there. And then we going to march around her 7 times and bring her down like the walls of Jericho. So then Gigi preaches. Before she preaches, all have sinned and fallen short of the word. All have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. I think that's how it goes. Y'all know I'm bad with scripture. But so she preaches from that. But before she does, she addresses the fact that Uncle Mac is in prison for molesting young girls. And she says, you know, we just gotta, the silence has to stop. We gotta tell somebody. If you know somebody is doing something to somebody and you're not saying anything, you know, we gotta tell somebody. And so let's have a moment of silence for the victims. And then she says, are you ready for a new thing? So I'm tickled to see what this new thing is going to be in season 2. So after that, the showdown. The showdown between the McCreqdy sisters that I've been waiting for all season. I'll tell you about it in a second. Okay, so I had to get comfortable to bring y'all in on the showdown. First, I don't want this shine directly in the light. I don't know if that's really working or not. But okay, so the showdown. So after Sunday service, Lady May goes to Auntie M's, and Mavis is just in there, you know, looking around, reminiscing, you're saying goodbye, you know, packing up and stuff. And so Lady May comes in. My face looks really skinny right here, which is good because I am like overweight to the 35th power. Skinny is good. Anyway, back to the showdown. So when she comes in the door, Mavis says, are you lost? And she was like, no. And so she was like, you need to stay out of my family business. She was like, what'd she say? I don't know, like the walls of her life, she can see the handprints on the bricks of the wall of her life or something. Knowing that Mavis had something to do with it, that Mavis has been egging Gigi on with this from the gate, which is true. Because Gigi was going to come and say goodbye to her sister and leave. But Auntie Mavis gave her that folder, and that, you know, kind of pushed her into action to stand and bring down Uncle Matt. That and the way that he acted with the Jacksons and their lotto money, that turned her stomach, mine too. And she was just like, you know what, something got to be done with this man. So, it's going off. That's the end of it there. So, what really, you know, she just comes in there and she's like tearing into Mavis like it's her fault that everything is going on, because her and Gigi have just, you know, turned everything upside down, which is true, but it's not their fault. They're just bringing all the dirt to the light that everyone else has been ignoring or sweeping under the carpet for however long. And so she pokes Mavis. And maybe she done poked you. At this point, I am expecting Oprah to lead a set, Mavis to lead a set, and Sophia to show up. Because at this point, she done poked her in the chest. Like, Mavis, she poked you in the chest. Not only did she poke her, she poked her and flicked her finger. And I was like, I thought Mavis was going to slap the fire out of Lady May. I thought they was going to go at it in the bar. But she didn't. She didn't, like, go Sophia fine with me and punch her across the room. Because I thought for sure we was going to see Lady May sliding down them steps like we seen Squeak slide across that floor in The Color Purple. But it didn't go down like that. She kept her cool and let May do her little read. And then she read her for filth with nothing but the truth. And Maeve couldn't say nothing. Mavis said, you knew. And when Mavis said, you knew, and Lady May said, I didn't, what kind of mother would know something like that happened to their child and not do anything? I kind of felt like that wasn't a question. I kind of felt like she was trying to say, as a mother, I couldn't have known. I couldn't have thought it was real, because I wouldn't have just let it go. I would like to think that I wouldn't have just let it go. So to me, in that point when she asked that question, now I could be wrong. You have to check with Craig Wright. He wrote it. He knows what the characters are feeling. But in my mind, and from what I see portrayed on the screen, did I just say seed? Still in The Color Purple. Anyway, from what I saw portrayed on the screen, I felt like Lady May was asking that of herself more than she was asking that of Mavis. And she called her a childless whore. And she said it with such venom in all of her heart that I still believe that Mavis and James was getting a grown up on before him and Lady May got married or during or something. At some point, them two trains collided at the station at the same time. So maybe we'll find that out later. Or maybe they were just really good friends, but I'm like, it's striking me as it had to be something more. Especially because of the way she talked about him when she was talking to Gigi about how he was before she was born and before the church took over and the power and the money became the object or his goal. So anyway, like I said, Mavis just let her have it. Mavis said, you knew, and you should have took your child to the police, not to the police, not to the cops, the law, the authority. Should have took her to the police when Grace told you 20 years ago. And you didn't. And you knew. And at this point, she then yelled at May and broke her down to the least common denominator with the truth. And May sitting up there steady saying, I ain't know. But she done calmed down. All that authority then came out of her voice. But while she still had her authority and she was yelling, I was like, this is like a Lady May thing. Because she asked Charity the same thing when Charity got with her at the breakfast table. Who are you? So I'm like, Lady May really thinks she's somebody. Because she keeps asking people this question like, I'm the shit, who are you? And I'm like, dude. And so she's asking Mavis, who are you to tell me? And then she called her a childless whore. And then told her she ain't know nothing about mothering because she ain't had no kids. I kind of feel like May is aside from the fact that I believe that James and Mavis had a thing, I believe that May is really threatened and intimidated by the fact that Grace is more comfortable with Mavis than she is with her. Sure, that's of her own doing. If you treat your daughter like crap, wouldn't want to hang out with you either. So, but I think she kind of feels some resentment towards Mavis for that as well, because she called her childless whore and was like, you don't know nothing about mothering. It's like, you're not helping this girl by filling her head with this stuff. You didn't help her by bringing this to her attention about things that happened while she was gone. That's how I personally feel. So, after Mavis read May for filth, she told her, get out. Get out. And come back to me when you're ready to tell the truth. Until then, get out. But she said something else that was very, 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 very important. And I think, you know, it was for the script, it was for the story, but it was for the audience. It was definitely for the audience. You do not want to believe that somebody in your family could do something so horrendous. Just horrific and disgusting and just filthy. You don't want to believe that your brother or your uncle or your son or your cousin or anyone in your family could do this. And I just named the males because that's pretty much how Mavis broke it down. But let us not, you know, be fooled for a minute and think that females do not commit sexual assaults, because they do. I can't get no understanding, but they do. I don't know. I just think the maternal instinct, just the caring and nurturing factor would stop them. But since every woman that gives birth to a child don't have it, and they aren't mothers, I could see how you could be a child predator and a molester under that same token. So this is not just for males, but in this sense, she's saying, you know, you don't want to believe that this person is in your family. And nobody wants to believe that. Nobody wants to believe that there's a predator in their family. But the reality is, a lot of the times there is. So, after Mavis then put May in her place and sent her out of her bar, we go to Charity and Kevin again. And at this point, Kevin's bringing another tray. He's just doing his job and feeding his wife and his sons. And she asks him to sit down, tells him that she wants to talk. And she tells him, you know, thank you for being honest with me, but I'm going to need some time alone to deal with this. Just me and the babies. We got to process this thing. And he said, you know, I never wanted to hurt you, but I think, you know, I might be. And she said, I understand. And so I don't know. I'm thinking, I want to think that they can come back from this, because he hasn't cheated and he was honest with her. It took him a while to get to being honest with her, but he was honest with her, and he hasn't done anything. He hasn't defiled their marriage at all, physically. So I'm hoping that they can, you know, that they can survive this, that they can come back from this for both their sakes and that of the babies, because the twins is coming. So, you know, that's going to be important as well. Then we see Ray in that pretty red Mustang, although Ray, you still get on my nerves. But he's there to pick up Sophia for the summer, and she's saying her goodbyes to everybody. And she tells her mom, you know, I'm going to be okay, just have a little faith. And when she gets in the car, she has a little faith in her ear, because she still has that CD player with Aunt Faith teaching them about forgiveness and not being mad at people, and, you know, when people disappoint you, that you should look to God. And so she's looking back at her family, at her mother that she's leaving there at the Greenleaf Manor. She has her Aunt Faith in her ear, not really paying attention to Ray, because she don't want to go with Ray. So I hope you have a terrible summer, Ray. I hope you go to the mall every day and spend up all your restaurant money. So as we see Ray and Sophia drive off in a pretty red Mustang, we see an unmarked car and a marked sheriff's vehicle pulling into the property. Here come the devil. Now, I didn't know the devil was in the car with the police, as Aunt Mavis said. I thought that the devil done snitched and the police were coming to pick up Bishop. Well, the devil done snitched, because you got too much on you, just come up out of jail. You talking to somebody about something. So, he gets out of the car and looks at Grace, and she looking at him like, really? Then the sickening, the most disgusting, sickening really bothered me thing was he's so smug in it. He is just so, yeah, I'm a rapist and I ain't shit and I'm a dirty, nasty, and I'm happy about it. That bothers me so bad. He ain't got enough sense to be ashamed of himself. But aside from that, when he walks up and tries to hug May, you done raped my daughter, my own brother, my flesh and blood. You done raped my daughter, and then you gonna touch me? I'd have got arrested right there, because the minute he got out of that car, I'd have been on him. But after she pushes him away, pushes his embrace away, he had the audacity, and this right here where my stomach rolled, he had the audacity to lean over and kiss her cheek. You nasty son of a bitch. Oh, that just disgusted me. So, as I say all the time in my disclaimers, I absolutely detest and abhor Uncle Mac, and I love Greg Allen Williams. So, good job, Greg Allen. You played this role to perfection this season, because I absolutely hated you, and you were right. You knocked my socks off. They're my bare feet for the season finale. So now we don't know what happened. We don't know if Bishop then burned the caretaker up. Did I miss something? I did. I didn't tell y'all what Granddaddy said. Granddaddy Henry, who for some reason I've been calling Richard for like ever since he made an appearance on the show. Granddaddy told Gigi that when the church burned down, First Baptist, when she was a little girl, wasn't no act of God, and the caretaker was in the basement. That's the secret that they have been paying him. And when I say they, I mean Uncle Devil has been paying him to keep quiet. So he was saying, you know, he didn't do that stuff out of love. He didn't defy your mother out of love and help me out. So I ain't never had nobody, you know, don't none of them love me. I would like to see my girls, but I doubt it'll happen. And not even my boy loved me. He just paid me to be quiet. And so I want to know, one, how does Granddaddy know what happened at the church? And two, who was the cause of it? Was it Mac or was it Bishop? Because if it was Bishop, why is Mac paying the hush money? I'm confused. And I saw an article interview with Deborah Joy earlier this week, a couple days ago. And she said it was going to be a cliffhanger. So that's the cliffhanger. That's where we are. Just like sitting back. The police have come. We don't know if they have a search warrant or not. But they go into the house with Uncle Mac. You have a uniformed officer, some plainclothes officers. Uncle Mac go in the house. We don't know if they have a warrant or not. And Bishop is looking out the window. And Gigi and Bishop kind of make eye contact. And then Bishop closes the curtain. So we don't know if Bishop finna go to jail or not. I could have sworn I seen Bishop being a little bit escorted off that step in the preview. So I don't know what happened to that in the finale, because there was no escorting off the step. But so now we gotta find out, is Bishop going to jail or what? What did Uncle Mac do? Because just like any predator, he a punk. He's scared to go to jail. He don't want to be in there forever. So he trying to, because his assets is frozen. He ain't got no money. He ain't got no nothing. And he in prison. And he trying to get out. But he ain't, you know, he ain't repenting. He ain't sorry or nothing. He just regular old nasty child molesting Uncle Mac. And he is happy about it. So I'd be glad when they bring him down for good. So that's pretty much a wrap. Greenleaf season 1. To Oprah and Craig Wright. Lionsgate, OWN Network, everyone else who really, you know, had a hand in making this show and bringing this show to life. Standing ovation. You guys are absolutely amazing. I have been hooked since the pilot, and I can't wait till next season. The fact that this is a summer show and it's like a whole year before the next season has me kind of upset. But I'm optimistic, because in 6 days you're going to give me Queen Sugar. So I'm not going to be that mad, because, you know, probably soon after Queen Sugar, I'm going to get, you know, all my other stuff back. Law and Order, Empire, How to Get Away with Murder, Scandal, and then Underground. So I have some things to hold me over, but that does not mean that I am not going to miss my Greenleaf family, chatting with you guys on Wednesday nights. And so there's that. Now, like I said, I have a paper here. And I probably done miss somebody, or I'm going to miss somebody, or whatever. So if I do, I apologize ahead of time. But I'm going to try to run down this list here. And I don't have everyone's name on the list. But I just wanted to, you know, actually give name recognition to this amazing, amazing, amazing cast. So, first of all, Craig Wright, Oprah, whoever is in casting, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for number one on the call sheet. I never heard of her. Never heard of Merle Dandridge until the pilot. This woman is so absolutely amazing. Instant fanatic. Love her, love her, love her. Thank you all. Whoever made it possible for me to know her talent. Thank you. So, number one, Merle Dandridge, who played Grace Greenleaf. Sophia, played by Desiree Ross. Noah's played by Benjamin Patterson. The amazing Lynn Whitfield, of course, is Lady May. Then we have Bishop James Greenleaf, played by Sir Keith David. And I say sir, I'm just saying sir. He hasn't been knighted as far as I know. Jacob, can't even talk. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. Jacob, by the amazing Lamont Rucker. Kevin, we want Ty White. Yes, we do. Never heard of him either. So, awesome, 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 awesome. Carissa, played by Kim Hawthorne, another person I'm just amazed by their talent and never heard of them before. My absolute favorite, and I can't even think of her last name, but Siobhan, who plays Corinne Jackson. That is my favorite character after Gigi, I swear. Because it's like she's sitting at a desk, she's got those earbuds in, she is doing her own thing. She could really care less what is going on in the church, but she on point and don't miss a beat. And I think that slow clap that she gave, she just got up. It wasn't really a slow clap, but I call it a slow clap moment. But just the round of applause that she started for Gigi when the virtuous woman sermon was going forth. I think that because everybody just disregards the fact that she's there because she's got her earbuds in and she's doing her own thing, that they don't think she pays attention. And she don't miss a thing. She pays attention to everything. And she know good and well Lady May ain't really fond of Gigi. She know that. But I think they all know that the only way that their church is going to turn around is with Gigi in that pulpit. And she was like, let me make some things happen. So, Corinne Jackson, you the real MVP. Mike Carpenter, lawyer, portrayed by Dwan Owens. Charity, Miss Deborah Joy Winans. And of course, you hear Winans and you think music. So the fact that she doesn't really want to sing, even though she can, and she does on the show, but that she wants to be an actress is like so great for all of us who enjoy entertainment, because I love TV. And there I have the talent of Deborah Joy Winans right on my TV every Wednesday. How awesome is that? Isabel. Now we know all season long Isabel has given me the blues. But not because Anna Diop is not a great actress, but because I'm just Team Gino forever. Gigi and Noah, not Izzy and Noah, even though he waxed that tonight. Did I say anything about that? I might not have, but let me just say, Izzy, you're stupid. Because first of all, you just, another desperate move. Gigi comes into town, you giving him head, spending the night, taking her out to barbecue, this, that, and the other. He sleeps with her. You get pissed off, you slap him, you kiss him, you take all your stuff, you call the wedding off, take all the pictures, even from Graceland, and then you come back and you get a room and you give him something the first day you come back. And them flowers weren't even that nice. He didn't even bring you like roses. He bought you some flowers from across the street in the field. Some straight up wildflowers. And you just gave it up just like that. You are so desperate and needy and just, you are too smart to not be strong. So, that is how I feel about Isabel. But Anna Diop, thank you for bringing her to the screen. Then, Lady O herself, Auntie Mavis, Oprah Winfrey. Zora is portrayed by Lovey Simone. Ray, who I don't like, is portrayed by Michael, whose last name I have forgotten. Michael Roderick, that's what it is. Michael Roderick. And then Adrian, who's trying to get in Kevy's pants. And then got a little ticked off like, dude, you was flirting. and then you come to dinner with me to talk about your wife and your kids and how you not gay. Yeah, I am not here for this, and got up and walked out. Mr. Gary Weeks. Then we also had Uncle Devil himself, Greg Allen Williams. Jen Harper. I think that's Deacon Connie Sykes. Parnell is the choir director whose name I can never remember. I think it's Carlos. Kristen. What is Kristen's last name? I don't know. Chris Me Twice. Y'all can find her on social media as Alexa. Jason Durden as the ever handsome and ever mischievous and always up to no good Basie Skanks. And Talkative Thomas. And I think that's Njima Williams. I could be saying that wrong. Danielle, I'm probably going to say that wrong too. Carlacia Grant, I think. All of you, even if you didn't have but a couple of episodes and a little bit of screen time, were amazing, brought amazing things to the show, and it wouldn't have been the same show without all of these people. And I know I'm still missing people, but, you know, bear with me. I don't know if you say this, Deji or Deji Leray, I don't know, but David, our police officer who ended up catching 4 in the chest. That story, very poignant. You know, with what's going on in society today, it needed to be told, and you guys did an amazing job with it. Antonio Madison. Antonio Madison is the very, very handsome, God, what is his name? I don't know, the math teacher who gives out reading homework. Oh, he's fine. Granddaddy, Bill Cobbs, aka Bill Delaney. From, if you haven't, who hasn't, but if you haven't seen The Bodyguard, Mr. Bill Devaney. And Nika Williams. Who was Nika Williams? I don't know, but she's part of the cast. I forgot. God, who's Nika Williams? Is Nika Williams? No. I don't even remember. How crazy is that? Well, Nika Williams, I wrote your name down, so you were apparently amazing. And thank you for your time on the show. And my absolute favorite, even though she done got fired, Terry J. Vaughn. Melise, you shouldn't have talked to the newspapers. Thank you guys all so much. I am a huge fan of this show, and now a huge fan of all those people on the list, and a lot of people that didn't make the list because it's too many of y'all and I forgot. So even if you were in one episode for 30 seconds, thank you, because the entire season of Greenleaf was amazing this premiere season, and I cannot wait for season 2. So I will see you guys then, in the mean and in between.